So who's going to win in this bound to be underrated matchup, I would say, between the hot Bills and the lucky Chiefs? Stay tuned to find out. Before I go into it, I wanted to say thank you. My last video where I tried quick playoff predictions, that absolutely was amazing. That became my most viewed video. It did have a dislike, which made me sad, but I get it. I picked against your team, which was bound to happen. Like, bound to get dislikes. But overall, thank you for everyone who watched that. And if you're watching this one again, thank you very much. And if you're watching it and you haven't subscribed, please do so. It would mean the world to me. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get right into this. So today, I want to break down more focus. I want to focus more and talk a bit more on my thought process on with who I think is going to win this game. Now, I honestly think, like I said, I think it's an underrated matchup. I think both teams have potential to do good things in the playoff. Both teams have potential to be absolute flops. Now, I said potential, not that they will be. So, yeah. So basically, I have four sections in this. Two for one, like why the Bills will win, why the Colts will win, and then two more for why the Bills will lose and why the Colts will lose. Pretty simple, and I just go through my thought process based on some film that I've watched, based on some stats. But basically, this is my thought process. I hope you have different thought processes than I do. But if this does influence your thought process, I'd be happy. That'd make me feel happy. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this. So why do I think the Bills will win? Well, it's pretty easy to see. They have the best combo in not in all of football, but definitely up there. Like if you watch First Take, I think is what I'm on. It was First Take with Stephen A. Smith giving his top 5 MVP. Number 5, he had Stephon Diggs. Number 4, he had Josh Allen. Okay, there's a reason they're there. They've been one of the most dynamic duos, if not the most. I don't have my stats memorized, and I apologize for that. But was Stephon Diggs? Yeah, this year they were the most dynamic duo. Stephon Diggs, well, except for maybe Adams and Rodgers, that might have been. Or Hopkins had more yards on the same amount of receptions as. Anyway, Stephon Diggs was number 1 in receiving. For the sake of this video, I'm gonna call it the most dynamic duo in football. They're electric. Having Stephon Diggs on the team greatly benefited Josh Allen, as we saw his completion percentage skyrocket from being one of the worst, if not the worst, among starting quarterbacks to the 9th best. Like, just the improvement from adding Stephon Diggs, and a lot of work, changing his mechanics, a lot of just developmental time. But adding Stephon Diggs definitely did not hurt that. And in fact, this team could get even better when they get a healthy John Brown for a full season, hopefully next year. But yeah, that is the main reason why I think the Bills will win, and why most people think the Bills will win. Another one, which goes a little under the radar, is their physical O-line. I'm not going to say good or great O-line. Sorry, their physical O-line. Watching them play the Steelers, I watched that game. Steelers have a very good defense. As if you did see my last video, you know I am higher on them than just about every single human on earth, except for Steelers fans. I promise I'm not retarded. I've been tested. But yeah, this O-line from Buffalo plays very physical. And what I was going to get to before I distracted myself, they did a very good job sometimes of holding off the pass rush and just the overall rush from Pittsburgh. Sorry, but there are also times where they didn't do too well. There were times where Pittsburgh, specifically T.J. Watt, granted he does that to everyone, got just absolutely looked like the best player in football. But then there were times where the overall defense did not look like the best defense in football. But it's really due to the physicality of that O-line. It would be a reason why I would say they would win. It also, you'll see, I'll talk about it later, but it could be a reason why they will lose. But if they play physical from the get-go, just punishing the Colts, like just out physicalating the Colts. Anyway, that is, I like the physicality of their O-line. Is what I'm trying to say. So I talked about one main reason, specifically they have the best combo. The other reason that people point to when talking about why the Bills will win, it's their defense. And there's two things that go hand in hand with this: their pass rush and their secondary. So, like, looking at this, when you look at the defensive line for the Bills, one name stands out, and that's Ed Oliver. Okay, the second-year player, I believe, or is it third? Yeah, second-year player. I don't know why. Yeah, second-year player from Houston, absolute beast. He plays defensive tackle, so stats aren't typically as good as maybe a rush end. But he and Mario Addison are the main leaders of this pass rush and like the run defense. If you watch highlights of the Steelers Bills game, I'm only saying that one because I know for a fact, and in every single Patriots game, the quarterbacks, specifically the Steelers, with Ben Roethlisberger, not a mobile guy. And because of that, he can't escape. He can't really escape the pocket. Yeah, I timed it once. He had nearly exactly 2 seconds to throw the ball before I don't even think it was in 5-man rush, and he got the throw off, and it was probably incomplete. I don't remember, but he had basically 2 seconds to throw the ball before the Bills players were all up in his grill. Like their pass rush is amazing. I love their pass rush, and it helps even if you can't get pass rush right away. Even when you can't get pass rush right away, oh my gosh. Even when you can't get pass rush right away, when you have a secondary that includes Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, and Josh Norman, even though some of them aren't specifically Josh Norman, Micah Hyde, specifically those two, they're not in their prime anymore at all. Rest in peace, Josh Norman. Derrick Henry did you dirty. But still, the way that they have, like, Sean McDermott is a genius. Like, this defense, the way he has these two playing, is amazing. There are very few passes that are not contested. There are very, very, like this. There are very. What I have written is very few open receivers. No one gets open against the Bills for the most part. There are some times when Josh Norman and Micah Hyde play their age, but for the most part, specifically Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White is an absolute beast. But yeah, that's my thought process for why the Bills will win. Now, just to remain unbiased, why do I think the Colts have a chance to win? Well, look at their offensive weapons. They had the third leading rusher in Jonathan Taylor. They had a great backup in Nyheim Hines. T.Y. Hilton at times plays very good. Michael Pittman looks very good. And then their tight end Jack Doyle, I think, goes under the radar for the most part. Sometimes deservedly, but most of the time I think he's a very, very solid tight end. But yeah, with those weapons playing at their absolute best, they can make Phillip Rivers look like a good quarterback. That's how talented they are. And no shot at Phil Rivers. He's just been not as good as he has been in the past. But yeah, these weapons, specifically Jonathan Taylor, I think, is one that will be the main focus piece for why the Colts will win. Other than that, when you look at like Nyheim Hines, like if Taylor struggles, Nyheim Hines could be the reason the Colts win. But if Taylor struggles, I think there's very little chance. Because while T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman, and Jack Doyle are all pretty good, Hilton and Pittman for sure. Doyle is sometimes a good receiver. While Hilton and Pittman are pretty good receivers, they're not getting open. Like I just talked about, the Bills allow few wide receivers. I'll get to that in a second, though. But yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor will be the main. If the Colts win, it's gonna honestly be behind Taylor. That's my main thought there. It would, yeah. The next thing is they're very good run defense. Just watching highlights of them, I know they're highlights, but still, against the run, they look pretty good. Like they look, they're not. I guess I shouldn't say great run defense. They have a capable run defense, which honestly against the Bills is good enough. Because I mean, Devin Singletary and Zach Moss aren't just going to win you games. So against the Bills, a capable run defense is good enough. Next, they have a good pass rush. When you go and look at their front, their four defensive linemen, we'll just stick there for now. Yeah, it's not as heavily loaded as as the Bills are. I guess their best player is better than DeForest Buckner is better than Ed Oliver, and Justin Houston's not bad. And Darius Leonard gets in on some blitz plays as well. But Grover Stewart and Denicio Autry. Those are the other two defensive line. Granted, Quentin Jefferson and Jerry Hughes aren't too much better. But they've played better, I think. From what I've seen, looked up, they played a bit better. But anyway, the good pass rush, the Colts can get pass rush, and I think Frank Reich and Matt Eberflus deserve a lot of credit. I hope I said his name right. Just the way it's all drawn up, very, very, very good. I'm very impressed with the way they have it drawn up. And finally, another reason why the Colts could win would be the veteran presence of Phillip Rivers. Granted, it's not great veteran presence, but it's better than what the Bills have to offer. I mean, honestly, Mitch Morse I like Mitch Morse. I like him, but yeah, Cole Beasley might be. Mario Addison's been here a while. Matt Milano. Yeah, Phillip Rivers has been here longer. Yeah, he's been to the playoffs more. So I'll give the veteran leadership an edge in the Colts, and my reason they could win. But yeah, that's my thought process on why the Colts could win. But here's some other reasons why the Colts could win. Specifically, what do the Bills have that would cause them to lose? Like, why did they lose 3 games? Well, one because of DeAndre Hopkins. But besides that, why would the Bills lose? Well, Josh Allen's inconsistencies. Yes, he has looked very good this year. Very, very good. Love Josh Allen. Comes from my Mountain West Conference. Well, not mine. But Josh Allen has had inconsistencies in the past. He has. His completion percentage was one of the worst in the last 2 years before this year. Had been one of the worst among starting quarterbacks. But yeah, he has stepped it up. Stephon Diggs helps. But if things go wrong, if the pass rush gets to him, I don't expect this will happen. But if the pass rush gets to him and some switch is flipped, I doubt it will happen. I love Josh Allen's mentality. I love Josh Allen. But yeah, if something happens where Josh Allen, I don't know what it'll be, but if Matt Eberflus and Frank Reich just have an amazing game plan for him, then things might turn south again and would lead the Bills to lose. Another thing I said I'd come back to, the O-line. While they are physical, they ain't perfect. They are far from perfect. Again, just the Steeler game, and even some of the Patriots game, not this last one, but the one before. The pressure was brought. Pressure was able to get in on Josh Allen. Granted, he did a good job of escaping it for the most part when he could. Very, very mobile, very good mobility from Josh Allen. But yeah, the O-line is taking a step back. You can see just from if you look up Devin Singletary's numbers, like he played in about four less games, had significant less yardage than he did as a rookie. But yeah, this O-line isn't perfect. It's not even great, I would say. The other thing, and the final is, honestly, I think the most important reason is they do not have a great run defense. Yes, they have a good run defense, and they have a good pass rush, but the run defense overall just isn't great. It's not great, and the way Taylor's been playing, it might have to be great if they want to slow him down. Granted, I don't think two of those I don't think will come into too much factor, but the run defense could be a real legitimate reason for why I think the Bills would lose. But yeah, on to more obvious reasons why the Colts will lose. If we want to talk inconsistencies, Phillip Rivers, there have been times where he's looked good. There have also been times when he's looked like complete garbage. Like in his last game, 17 to 27, not horrible. 164 yards, not great. Touchdowns, 1, interception, 1. With a rating of 76.8. When you compare that just to his regular season, 68% completion percentage as compared to 63. I'm blind apparently, but yeah, basically, I'm looking at. I pulled up Phillip Rivers on ESPN. Just the next game, it has the splits away in January. Those are the two I want to focus on. Percentage down 6.3% in January from the rest of his away games. His yards, he had 2,001 yards in the rest of his away games, which I think would put it at about 200-ish yards per game. I think, if I'm doing my math right, which I doubt it, but I'm too lazy to pull up a calculator, with an average of 7.8 yards per completion, I think. Yeah, for completion, I think. And an 11-to-5 touchdown to interception ratio as compared to a 1-to-1. So, yes, it is a one-game sample size. However, that one game was against the team that is going to have the number 1 draft pick. And he threw only 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Yes, Jonathan Taylor had an amazing game. 253 rushing yards, along with 2 touchdowns, and along with 56. And in that game, they really showed why Jonathan Taylor would be the reason they would win. He had 30 carries compared to Rivers' 27 attempts. But yeah, that would be a reason why the Colts would lose. Would be Phillip Rivers. And also something I mentioned else earlier. The second reason would be their receivers aren't going to be able to get open. Like, T.Y. Hilton just in general hasn't been able to get the separation that he has in the past. Michael Pittman, still as a rookie, isn't the greatest at getting separation. And then especially against this defense, this secondary, it's going to be tough. Yeah, and then the third reason, they're not great at containing mobile quarterbacks. I think let's just, yeah. If you go and look at their, so let's go. I'm gonna look through their schedule. We'll start off with the game against Jacksonville. I know Minshew's not the most mobile of quarterbacks, but still, he's not a stationary. He's not a pocket passing quarterback. He can move. He's not the best, but he can move. Cleveland. Baker can move. He can get out of the pocket. He can throw out of the pocket. It's not always accurate, but he has shown the ability to do that. Baltimore. Literally have a running back at quarterback. Joke, but still, their main quarterback, he's very heavily featured in the run game. Houston, they did fairly well. They got the win against Watson, but it was very close. And in a game they probably should have won by more, which they did in the next one against Houston. They won by one more, so not much better. But yeah, most of their losses have come from facing a mobile quarterback. I mean, because you look at their wins, Minnesota, Kirk's not going to run on you. Donald could, but you're going to sack him before he even gets the ball. Actually, I was going to say Mitch ain't going to run on you, but at this point it's Nick Foles. Well, actually, wait. No, it was still Mitch. Yeah, he can, and that's probably their second best win against a running quarterback. Talked about Cleveland. Burrow ain't running on you. I mean, he's a willing runner, and he's not a good runner. He's a willing one. Stafford ain't running on you. Tannehill, I was about to say ain't running on you, but you've seen the highlight. But yeah, Tannehill's not a mobile quarterback. Aaron ain't running on you. Tannehill again ain't running on you, though you still lost to him. Carr can run on you. Not going to, but can. And lastly, Big Ben ain't running on you. So, well, some of those did end up in wins or in losses, like the second Titans game and the Pittsburgh game. Most of those were wins. They're not good overall against mobile quarterbacks. But finally, another reason is it gonna get cold. And my thought process with this one, even though yes, it does get cold in Indianapolis. One team play outside in Buffalo. One team play inside in New Orleans, in Indianapolis. Yes, Indianapolis gets cold. It gets way colder than here. But in Buffalo, those people, they're a little crazy. Sorry if you're a Bills fan living in Buffalo. You people amaze me. I can't go outside in 40 degree weather without one of my heavier hoodies on. They amaze me. They're very amazing people. But overall, my prediction, it could be an endless amount of possibilities for this game. It could either be like a low-scoring, even game, a fireworks show, or the Bills just blow this out of the Colts. Yeah, I don't see it the other way around. I have the Bills winning. I do have it close-ish. I have 30-21. I think Josh Allen. I think it'll be closer in the first half, but after halftime, it's just. If you were a Colts fan, I'd get ready to turn off the TV after halftime. Is my prediction. I could be wrong. I am an idiot at times. Okay, this could be one of the idiot things I say. But I feel pretty confident about this one. I feel pretty confident that the Bills are going to win. But, hey, never know. We've seen stranger things. We've seen a quarterback throw it to himself for a completion touchdown. But anyway, that'll do it for me. I hope you guys have an amazing Saturday. Enjoy this game. It's going to be a good one, I hope. But I will see you all later. Adios.